Hello and welcome to your next tutorial in C++, and today we're going to be discussing strings, the Getline function, concatenation, and some string functions. So let's get started. So as you can remember, anytime we create a string variable, we're going to have to import the string class, or the library that contains all that predefined information for us. So let's include it. There we go. So now we can create a string variable. So let's do that. Since we're going to be collecting information from someone, let's call it input. And we're not going to set it equal to something. We're going to want the user to type something out. So let's type out cout, enter your first name, colon, space, and we're not going to put an end line. We're not going to put an end line here because we would actually like the cin to appear right next to this instead of down to the next line. So we'll put cin, then input. So that'll allow them to type in what we'd like. And let's print out what they put in. So let's have it say hello, and then throw in whatever they typed in for the first name. Welcome to this tutorial. And throw out another end line, and I think that should work. So let's try that out. So Control F5. So enter your first name. Okay, I'll do that. Adam. Hello, Adam. Oh, I shouldn't have had a comma there. Bad grammar. Welcome to this tutorial. So look at that, it worked. So that's really, really cool. So what if we wanted to just say enter your name? So we want to enter both our first and our last name. So we'll just assume that's what it means when it just says enter your name. So I'll throw in Adam Huntley, and let's see what happens. Wait. Adam Huntley. Hello, Adam. Wait a minute. Whoa. I typed in my whole name, yet only my first name appeared. Well, why is that? Well, the way we're implementing our code, just using the cin by itself, it will go through the string that you typed in into your input until it reaches its first white space. Then it no longer records whatever you typed in. So it didn't take in this Huntley right here because there's a white space before it. So how do we solve this? Well, in order to solve this, we can use what's called the Getline function. So I'm going to get rid of this comma because that's bad grammar. So how to use the Getline? Well, first of all, let's get rid of this. And all you have to do is first type out the variable that you want to have typed in by the user. Then if there's any output, right here this is optional. Then type out getLine, and then inside your parentheses type cin, comma, and then whatever you want the user to type in, whatever variable you want to set a value to, and that's input. So they're going to cin input, and it will get everything that they typed in. So let's try it out this time. So I'll type out Adam Huntley, and let's see what happens. Hello, Adam Huntley. Welcome to this tutorial. So it worked. So that's really, really cool. So that's where I wanted to show you. Typically, I will use the get line when I'm working with strings, just to make sure there's any white spaces in there. So it's kind of a foolproof method right there. So okay, so the next thing I'd like to show you is concatenation. And basically, we're going to be using... Oh, you know what? I should be throwing out some of this information in comments. So cin, and then variable. So that's that. So okay, let's go into concatenation now, because this is something you might be dealing with. So concatenation. Well, first of all, what is concatenation? Well, basically, concatenation is taking two or more strings. We'll just be doing two in this tutorial, and putting them together into one string. Or you might not be putting them into one string, but you'll still print multiple strings together. So let's figure out how you go about doing this. So let's say we have string input, enter your name, and so you enter your name. Let's have it say cin. Let's call it first. Let's call this first name, so only your first name will be printed. So we created a variable called first. Enter your first name. So you put in your first. Then throw out another cout, copy. And we'll need another variable for our last name. So this is a kind of an alternative, really. Enter your last name, and then we'll cin our last. And there we go. So now we have first and last. So we could just call this first. And let's see here. Throw in some empty parentheses. Throw out our last. Let's see if this works. I never write out code like this, but let's just see if it works. So enter your first name, so I'll type in Adam. Enter your last name, I'll type in Huntley. Hello Adam Huntley, welcome to this tutorial. Okay, so it still worked. That's really, really good. So, but this is not concatenation. In order to concatenate more than one string together, you'll use the plus sign. We use this with math. This is an arithmetic operator, but it's also the operator used for concatenation to fuse more than one string together. So instead of doing this, we could just put a plus sign, but this could have costly results, as you'll see. So I'll type in Adam, I'll type in Huntley, but now the Adam and Huntley are right next to each other. That's because we didn't have a space either after the M or before the H. So that could be a downfall there, but I did want to point this out. But this is a way you can concatenate two strings together. And you can also use the plus equals. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's create a new variable down here and call it just name. And after we have both the first and the last, we could just type in first plus last, and that can work, and we could just put name right here. So let's look at this. Let's see how this works. These are just different ways you can go about solving problems. Adam Huntley, so it all worked. So that's really, really cool. But you see how we had to create a whole new variable just to concatenate these two strings together? Well, there's another way you could go about doing this, and this will actually show off the bad result first, so that's not really good. But what you could do, actually no, it wouldn't have to, but what we could do is use one of our past variables, so we could just call it first again. We can call first once again, and we can go plus equals, just like we used before with the assignment operators in math. And first of all, we can add this to the end. So it'll take what was already there, throw in an empty string. So you know what? I'm going to cut this and paste it right here. So that's added first. Then we type in our last, and then we'll add last to it. So our first name will now have all of it in there. So I'll just call this first. And let's check this out. So I'll type in Adam, I'll type in Huntley, and now it still says Adam Huntley, because after we typed in the first, it modified the first by adding an empty string right after it using the plus equals, and after we typed in our last name, we added the last, whatever we typed in for the last, to the end as well, and then it just printed the first, because we kept modifying only the first. So that's really, really cool. So that's a couple of different ways you can go about concatenation. So yeah, that's about it for that. So now I want to show you some predefined functions. I don't know how many I can fit in this tutorial, but let's do this. So the first one I'd like to show you is the dot length, and basically that returns number of characters in string. Did I spell all that right? I hope I did. So let's just call this Getline and cin first. There we go. And I'll just get rid of all of this. So now we're just going to be back to this with the first. So what I would like to print is, I would like just to print first dot length. So basically, in order to use any predefined functions, you just type in the name of your string, we called it first, and whatever function you want to access. So the length should return how many characters are in there. So if I type in Adam Huntley, oh, whoops, I didn't use the control. Sorry about that. Adam Huntley, we get 12. Now, if I look at this, Adam is 4 and Huntley is 7. So that's only 11 characters. Where did the 12th come from? Well, it includes white spaces as well, so bear that in mind. The next one I would like to show you is... What's the next one I'd like to show you? I have some of these written down. Oh yes, the dot size. Pretty much the same as length. I really don't know the technical differences, but the size should pretty much do the same thing. Typically, though, I will use the length as opposed to size. So I would type in Adam Huntley. Let's see if that produces a different result. No, it doesn't. So that's it for the size. I guess it depends on what your teacher or boss's preference is. Okay, I would like to show you the dot at. And basically, what goes inside the parentheses for the at is an integer. And basically that will return the character at specified index number. Now we don't really know about index numbers, but in a string, each character is assigned an index number starting from 0. So if we just looked at the C out right here for an example, E would be index 0, N would be index 1, T would be 2, and so on. So let's try finding the index number of, so dot at. Let's just, we could just throw in a number, or a variable that's equal to a number. That's what you'll typically do. But let's just look at, what should we look at? Index 4, for an example. So I'll click save. You know what? That might not be too good. I'll throw in 6, because I think that might be the white space on my name. So I'll run this again. I'll type in Adam Huntley, and we get U. Yeah, see, okay, so if I go A's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, see, that's why I didn't want to use 4, because that would have been the white space. 5 and 6, so the U is number 6, so we'll return us the character U. So that's what the dot at does. So just remember this int means you just put an integer there. Either directly put an integer, or you can put a variable that's equal to an integer inside there. So now let's do another one. The dot append. What this will do is the append is actually the same as the concatenation. The append will add a string to the end of the function. So I could type in append, and let's put in string last and cin last, and I want to append last. How about that? I also want a cout that says enter last name. I hope I spelled that all right. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is creating a last. So enter your first name. I'm only going to put my first name. Then we're going to do what we did before. I'll enter my last name, and what it will do is take my first name, and append the last string to the end of the first string. So this might not be good though, because this might not put the space in between the two. So if I type in Adam, and then I type in Huntley, yeah, I get Adam Huntley without the space. So that's not too good. But thankfully, since we have the Getline, since we're using the Getline for the first, I could actually type in Adam space, and then Huntley, and then that should give us the space. Okay, that's good. And that's because we use the Getline here, so it could read that space we put at the end. But you have to assume that the user won't do that. So now, okay, so that would concatenate string to end of selected string. And basically it's the same as concatenation. So you dot append and you put some sort of string in there. You could directly put a string in there if you wish, whatever you'd like. So what else do I want to show you? Dot insert. Okay, so dot insert is, so basically dot insert, what this will do is insert a string. So you'll insert at a certain index number a string, and you can also specify the starting and the end position, and these are also integers, just like this is an integer. So I'm kind of running out of time. Hopefully I can do this. So I'll just create a sample string here, string insert, and I'll set that equal to space not so much, and let's see here. So I'll put in first dot insert, and I'll be typing in Adam Huntley. So Adam is 4, 0 through 3. So let's start at 4. We'll add an insert. And the rest is optional. That's all you have to do is start at somewhere and then insert it, and it'll insert all of it. But I want to show you the more advanced part. And let's just add in the so. So this is character 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to start at the space there to add in a space. And end at... and the next will actually be, not the end, length. And that's how much longer to go. So let's just add in 2. Whoops. 2, and I'm going to have to edit some stuff here. So I'll type in Atom, and when you add in the length, all it's going to do is add in one less character than that. So I started with the space, so I got the space, so I started at the space right here, and I added in the space, and I added in the S, but it did not add in the O. So I want you to bear that in mind too. And those are just some functions I wanted to show you. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you, and I'll see you next time.